Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's Caroline Stevens seeking the truth. Earlier we had Kelly Cottam on, and now we've got Mike from the Midlands area, and we're going to be focusing on children up for adoption. So over to you, Mike. What's been happening since, was it about a week ago, wasn't it? What's been happening with you?
Many things has not been made clear to us, but we've been able to find out what is really going on in a way that they don't want us to know what goes on in the background.
So you've had a meeting, haven't you, though, since I last spoke to you?
Well, not only have we had a meeting, we've also had a court hearing. Right? Now, my concern has always been how things are being done. Right? I've been given information, again, like I've said last time, but again, I keep on repeating myself. If people want to get these information, they can be supplied, obviously, simply by asking me or inboxing me. Right? Because what I'm finding all the time is you're trying to raise as parents, what our concerns are to, obviously, social services. And then, because the only answer that you get from them is, it's a court's decision. It's like I keep on saying to them, the court doesn't make a decision unless somebody has provided that information. So when you go back to the court tells you to basically take it up with social services. When you take it up with social services, then you get the IRO. Do you remember I mentioned the IRO before as well? The independent reviewing officer, for an example.
Right.
Now, you cannot say anything to anybody unless the IRO himself will say to you, okay, then I am prepared to listen to what you have to say. But you see, they say this to these agencies where in a way they agree with what we are saying, because the only form of contact we can have with the IRO is through our children, which is obviously some of the older ones, right? So when the IRO is actually admitting to the children that yes, we should have more contact, we should know what's going on with our children while they're in care, but it is still not happening. You see, you don't get nothing in writing even from the IRO, so you got nothing to work with. So when you then say, see, because my daughter that they claim to, both of my daughters, in fact, who ran away from placement. They didn't run away because, it's a question of, yes, they did like it there. Because whilst they are there, they are put in their bedroom. They've got no social life at all, and that's why they want to be out of the house all the time. Right? So when you're trying to say to them, that's what the children are saying, but it is then not recorded. So the social workers, when it goes in front of the judge, anything that will raise with them, that they don't put this in front of the judge. What they will do is, when they put their case through, we then put what is known as, they call it a position statement. But that position statement is, the judge does not even read it. He doesn't even acknowledge it. All he says to you is, he will use the word such, or she will use the words such as legislation allows them to do this. It's like I keep on saying to them, you haven't listened to what the children are saying. The social workers are not listening to what the children are actually saying to them. What I mean by that is they're telling them exactly what is happening in the care system, but they're all ignoring it. So they then, do you remember, I said, we stop going backwards for no reason at all. Do you remember I spoke about they have a thing that is known as a strategy meeting before they come together? Well, believe it or not, the court itself also has a system that they call it the team, right? The team, all information is put in front of them, right? And all they say to each other is, and the one that I've noticed that plays a big part in it is the guardian. Now, bearing in mind, the guardian does not meet the children. He or she does not meet the children, does not meet the parent. The only information that's provided to the guardian is information that's provided by social services. You see what I'm saying to you?
So it's not independent. So there's no conflicting information then, is there?
Because the thing is, everything the guardian's been given is information from social services. So the guardian doesn't even get information from the school. The guardian does not get information from the parent. You see what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
So it's all sided. So I emphasise on this a lot of time, because you see, if you have information about any family and it's negative, all right. Now, if I've made that information up, and you are the agencies are supposed to be independent, just like the team they have in the court. They're supposed to be independent. So as far as you're concerned, I'm a social worker, I'm very trustworthy. So the information I'm putting in front of everybody is fact. So I've asked quite a few of them now, have you had this information verified? And the answer you get is yes. Who's verified it is a school. Okay? Now, do you remember we spoke about referral? Right? When the school make a referral.
Yeah.
Yeah?
To social services.
Correct. They make it to social services. The school are supposed to make us aware of these referrals. Now I will explain to you, this is what I've actually found out. Because on the early stage when we had 2 referrals made, we had the document to say 2 referrals been made, obviously 2 different dates and time, yeah? So the first referral, then they send you a document where the referral's been made, they then have to do a lateral check. So the lateral check will be done. I know sometimes I'm repeating myself, but this is where many people miss this particular point because it's very important.
What is a lateral check?
Right. So another word, a referral is made to social services. Social services are supposed to get in touch with. So if one school has made a referral, so social services gets in touch with obviously some of the safeguarding officers at that school, and then any other school or nurseries your children goes to. They're supposed to make all these checks with the nursery, the other schools, health visitors. If you have youngsters that is still under the care of the NHS, yeah. So just to find out if they've got any concern. But believe it or not, twice that was done to us back in the early 2000s, and that is what I've always questioned. Yeah. So they're making referrals now. So all they're collecting is information. So we're not aware of it. So when they put this in front of these people that call themselves professionals, as far as they're concerned, that's been verified. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
In fact, none of it has been verified. Of course, we're going to challenge it. Now we've been made aware of it. It's like I said, when we went to court, all in all, again, I've said this before. I asked the people that was representing us, I want to know from social services how many referrals was made about, obviously, us as a family. And I was actually told I am going to be opening up a can of worms. Right? Now, by the sound of it, because when I look at legislation, so even the people that represent us, all they want us to do is to agree with whatever social services wants us to do, to work with them. So at the end of the day, you cannot work with somebody unless you know what it is they want you to change. You see what I'm saying to you? So now, can you understand what I said to you? It's the 30-odd referrals that was made, which is information that's been collected over a period of time. And I've been able to pinpoint it because, again, they have not told me exactly where these referrals come to. But so far, I've been able to pinpoint it to one school only. You see what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
The school, this will probably go back to as far as 2014. You see, although there was some information back in 2015 when they actually said to us they had no concerns towards any of our children. You see what I'm saying to you? Yeah. So if you had no concern, now the referrals, again, so we go back to the Green Falls. You see what I'm saying? Somebody is being paid to keep these referrals behind so that way we're not aware of it. And the reason I will say to you, I can say, yes, somebody is being paid because, I spoke to you again, it was last week. They use these families as experiment, test, project, you name it. They change all the names, right? They change the project to a scheme, from a scheme to something else and something else, so on and so forth, yeah?
Yeah.
So what I've actually discovered is and there was something that I will, again, like I said to you, I will share this. Only, if people are interested, we will share it. But the thing is, we have to act and do something about it, because the court's not going to do it for us. Our friends, families are not going to do it for it, because it's like, I've heard this said so many times, they don't want to get involved because they don't want the same thing to happen to them. Well, believe it or not, it can happen to anybody. Although we like it can happen to anybody. And I think it's about time people woke up and really, see what's really going on around them. So this is something, there's a couple of notes that I've made. Where are we? So there was something that was shared on one of the posts itself, like £12,000 per referral, right?
Yeah.
Right, and that other one for 50, and I can actually explain to you about the 50,000 one.
Yeah, because I posted that, didn't I, yesterday? So how much did I put it? £12,000 per referral.
So if you imagine, according to them, if there was 30 referral made, so that means the school must have received something in the figure of over £300,000.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
£12,000 a time. Now, the one I will talk to you about, the 50,000 one, right, which is that they call it, the child that is in the care home. But you see, when you look at the care home, it's just not just a care home. It is always, also call it residential care home as well. You see what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
They are run by private companies. And there was a chap actually said this. He was looking after so many children, but I will not talk about what he was talking about. If we look at the figures he gives, at the moment, I've got 4 more children who's been put under some form of what are you under? What are they under? What are they under? The leaving care team, for an example.
Yeah.
You see, there was about, I would say, between 2 to 3 different schemes. One of them is a scheme, one of them is a project. So you got, excuse me. So in fact, there's 4. You got a 13-year-old they are getting ready, to put him into that, whether it's the trial or scheme or the project. You see, don't forget, these are all projects for about 5 years. That's been planned for, because, like I said last time, the judge that is involved in our case, right, the documents she has signed, she's going to be on this case for the next 5 years. So it tells you they've already planned for the next 5 years what they're going to do to our children. So if you take the 4 that's in, they're starting this project on, so already here, they're collecting, these private companies, they're actually collecting just under £50,000 every month. Now, if people want me to explain that to them, by all means, we can do another video on this. Obviously, I will share the videos, because I will only give this information now, so people can stop complaining about how much money they're wasting, how their tax money has been wasted. You see, and in order to get that, they also need sponsors. You see what I mean? All this is all been done by sponsors. People are sponsoring all this.
Who's sponsoring this then?
Well, that's what I said. We can't find out. I haven't yet come to, I don't actually who's sponsoring it. But then again, it's like they say, everything has a dark side to it that we're not aware of. But you see, if people can make allegations about me, and like I said, you have to prove it. And especially when I can prove whatever they've accused me of, none of it are true. Whatever they've accused me of, what they put down on paper, what I've got on my recording does not match up. They keep on talking about, again, they've been talking about this now since, since May this year, about doing an assessment. And every time I said to them, look, you're saying we're not working with you. Many people say to me, look, you've got to work with these people. You cannot work with people unless you know what you're going to be assessed on. So if they're saying to me, past history, so I need to know what their concerns are. You see what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
So again, I'm not going to give you the name, obviously, because I actually spoke to a social worker about this. It's like I said to them, can you please, they've arranged for us to do what is known as an assessment, right? But it's like I said to her, can you please explain to me what is involved in that assessment? So, as if, how that comes across, as if they haven't got a clue themselves how to do the assessment. Because if you knew how to do an assessment, there must be some form of guideline to tell you which step to take. Because at the end of the day, they are the one who wants to do this. They are the one who wants to do the assessment. So I gave an example. The simple one was making tea, right? So like I said to her, some people like to put the tea bags in, followed by the milk, or the milk, then the tea bag. I said, I like to make my tea bag, hot water, and then the other stuff, yeah? So I said to her, if you're going to tell me that I need to make my tea the way you make your tea with the milk first, that's not going to happen. So like I said, so this is what you need to document. How do you want me to change? What changes do you want in me, right? And it's like I keep on saying, even, a couple of times we appeared in front of the court itself, right in front, they call it the remote hearing. But you see, nobody tells, the judge is fully aware that one of my daughters was here for 5 weeks. I would like to know, why have they moved her out of county?
Out of the county.
They moved them, another one, out of Warwickshire into another county. So can you see that £50,000 residential area, how that works? Yeah? So the further out they send them, the more money they can claim. You see what I'm saying? The further out they send them.
Right.
And like I said to you, this is what this is the information I've been given so far. All right? And like I've always said to you, Caroline, it's like, you say you seek the truth. That's what I want to know. I want to know. These are the information that I've got. If I am wrong, then the information should not be available so we can actually see them. You see what I'm saying? So somebody is answerable, because at the end of the day, I can't wait for them, for something serious to happen to my children, and then somebody will do something about it. Because at the moment, our children are at risk, right? And none of the social workers are actually, even bother to look into them. Now, my daughter, who's was put back into their care over a week ago now, right? Now, we were told she was allowed to come and see us. They were going to provide her with taxis. Like I said, no, you need to taxi, the reputation that is happening with taxis. No, you take responsibility of her. So therefore, you need to bring her from wherever you put her back into where we live. So that way, somebody can collect her and take her there. Because you see, you can put them in a taxi. How do we know these taxis are trustworthy? You see what I'm saying to you now?
Yeah.
And yourself, this is what they do. Information are being shared, because as you know, the council itself shares our information. Although we tick in the box, we don't want our information to be shared, right?
It's irrelevant. They don't take any account of that then, presumably.
Yeah, but that's it, because when you try to explain to them the reason as to why I don't want information being shared, right? But they say, but they have a right to know. No, I have a right to privacy. It's like my other daughter, the one who's been with us now for just over, she was with us for about a week, wasn't she? And we had a hearing, and believe it or not, the decision was already made before the hearing took place. An hour before the hearing took place, a decision was reached. All right? And, I explained that last week as well. And what happens is, you have the gang, which is not the gang, what's that group? The team at the court itself. They've already made that decision. That's what I said. This is what I will say. This the guardian plays a very big part in this, because she's allowed to say so much to the judge, where us as parents, the judge won't even listen to as to why the child has run away. You see what I'm saying to you? And it's over stupid things, right? These children have been punished for. My daughter, who was here before, the reason she's not allowed to come here is because she's been punished. The social worker doesn't bother with her. I've spoken to the social worker's manager. They promise you things, but then again, they don't do nothing to help these children. And then they say, I am not working with them. The reason they say I'm not working with them, I am pointing fact to them. So like I said to you, if some of your social workers communicate with me, there isn't a problem there. Okay? But at the same time, I was also given what is known the court order. But again, the judge didn't sign it. You see what I'm saying? And when you question him, that's what they don't like, because that is how it is now. But this is what they say to you. That's how it is now. No, that is not how it is now. This is supposed to be signed by a judge. And if you retaliate, you're guaranteed the police. give the social worker his due, the one that actually picked my daughter up. Because like I said to them, I don't want to see the police around there because it's not fair on my children. Give him his due, yes. The social worker picked her up, and took her to the other placement. But the thing is, to say to you, you should encourage your child to go back. It's like I said last time. What parent in their right mind would send their children to be abused? But then if you retaliate, and it's like many people said, well, yeah, man up. But it's not a question of manning up. Like I said, what we've experienced, what they did to my daughter on the 11th of June, if they can do that to my daughter and my neighbour, can you imagine what else can happen? And plus the lies the police is prepared to tell to save their own backside. That's not just from your police constable, including an inspector. You see what I'm saying to you? So how can they tell you to move forward, but when you experience all these, what's really going on, right? And there is nobody there to say anything. Well, this is wrong.
So hang on then. So basically, if the police are lying through their back teeth, do they go into court and lie through their back teeth, or do they not give evidence in court at all?
See, like I said, what I've actually found out is they seem to be using what is known as legislation. You see, that's what they're using. They're actually using legislation. Right? I don't know if you've seen that during the week. This lockdown issue with Boris Johnson. All right. Now, another one, he thought about it at 1 o'clock. 2:30, he had a meeting. Have you heard? You've heard it?
You're talking about the north of England and Spain. These are the two situations where people were literally, the police in the area had to lock Manchester down. They didn't have the authority until something like 40 minutes to midnight, the full list of what to do.
No, there was actually someone else shared up with that. This is what I thought. This is, we got with the .gov link, yeah?
Yeah.
What was actually printed was, he thought what he's going to do at 1 o'clock. 2:30, he has a meeting. And according to the document clearly states on there, the decision was already made at 1 o'clock. You see what I'm saying to you? So he's making the cabinet aware of this at 2:30, and then he said the final decision happened at 1 o'clock. So it should have been after 2:30. Does that make sense?
Yes, because it's supposed. So basically, it just shows that Boris Johnson is dictating solo to the country, and he's not collaborating at all with anybody else.
Yeah. So when you see this is what's happening, and it's the same for wearing masks. It's like people say to me about wearing a mask, but I'm not being funny. Regardless of what's going on around us, yes, it is. If it's serious enough, we can take care of ourselves. And if we were supposed to be wearing a mask by the sound of it, that's what we're going to have to be doing for the future. We would have been born with a mask. You see what I'm saying to you, right? But at the same time, it's like I don't do all the science, but common sense has to set in sometimes as well. Yeah. Because I've actually, it was in one of the supermarkets here, it was during the week. Obviously, I'm not going to name the supermarket, the shop itself. There was, because somebody had gone into a shop with a friend, and somebody, that friend wanted to go in, but he didn't have a mask. And that friend said, well, you can borrow my mask. You see what I'm saying? This is something that actually happened in front of a member of staff of that particular supermarket. This is where we live at the moment. You see what I'm saying to you? So, is the mask really protecting us? It's like I even said, when we did discuss this at home quite a lot. If that is the case, what they should do is they should have two, I don't know, if you want to pick Tesco or even Asda, so you should have a Tesco that with mask and a Tesco without the mask.
Yeah.
What would you reckon would happen if the one without the mask has got something in there that you need, but you believe in the mask? What are you going to do? You're going to take your mask off to go into the store that you don't have to wear a mask just to get the stuff that you couldn't have in the shop that hasn't got the stuff you wanted. Do you get what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
Yes. So when we're looking at you see, that's what I said to you. When you really look at legislation itself, that is being abused too many times now. Yeah, because people keep on saying to you that is the law, but then again, they have to define the law. We can't just pick and choose what we want. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, they falsified the figures, and they change things around, and they take advice from people with all vested interests. And the problem is, the bottom line is, lots of our MPs have vested interests in vaccinations, big pharma, and so they're all getting kickbacks. They've got shares in it, so you can't take them seriously in that respect, because their decisions will be made based on fraudulent accounting, basically. And the machines and testing, positive or negative, don't work properly. And they've already shown in the Telegraph 2 weeks ago that if you've tested positive and then this week you got run over by a bus, you get put down as COVID-19 death. So that's just totally outrageous, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's like you're trying to work with these people, but at the same time, they're lying through their back teeth.
Yeah.
Sometimes you say to them, "Are you not listening to what you're saying?" And then the trouble we have then as a general public, you get all these others that say, "Why don't you just do what you're told?" But the thing is, what they don't realise is long term, in the long term, we're the one who's going to be, picking up the pieces. Our children, in fact, are the one who's going to be picking up, they are the one who then will have to live in a society which is not fit for purpose, as we would call it. Because everything else we're getting are free. You see what I'm saying to you? The air we breathe, that is free. And that, at the moment, what I'm seeing
only at the minute.
Well, that's what they're basically trying to say to us. If you want that, you have to pay for it.
Anyway,
yes.
back to the. So, how can we finish this off then? So this, how have we left it now? You've got more meetings, yes?
Well, I'm supposed to have a meeting this Tuesday coming. But it's like I said to you, at the moment, I can't give anybody any information. You see, as long as I don't discuss it, but I need to know. So what I would like from somebody out there itself, whether they contact you or contact me, I would like to know, what do they mean about an assessment? You see what I'm saying to you?
What the guidelines? What are they marking you against?
Exactly. So therefore, whatever concerns somebody has got, I need to know what they are. I keep on saying, I've been saying this now for so many years. What are your concerns? But I can't put nothing right. Nothing will work unless I know what these concerns are. I've actually written to somebody quite senior, obviously at the local authority, and they've never replied me. I've made endless of phone calls. They don't bother to respond to it. And all you're being told is, go and speak to this manager or the operational manager. But the thing is, you can't speak to this operational manager itself, where they themselves, they know they should be contacting us. You see, I've made it clear there are two, a manager and a boss itself. I don't want nothing to do with them. I've made that clear. And I've said to them, I have a right to choose, what social workers I want, because if things are not moving forward, so therefore, at the moment, they've given me things about three so far. I would say it's working. It might not be working in their favour because I still question them. But at the same time, they haven't got a problem with it. You see what I'm saying to you? It's like even one of the managers actually said to me, yes, you're entitled to know why your children are in care. So in other words, she's saying to me, yes, you need the evidence. So why are they refusing to give me the evidence? Not a judge finding. I need to know what was her finding. How did she find in all the information I provided her? How comes mine was fact and theirs was based on third-party information? Because they've actually admitted this. Some of the information they've received is third-party information. So none of it has been verified. It's like I've said to them, let's go back to the school. Go back to the school where all this starts up. Speak to these people. But you see, ever since I've been talking about this, about how much money the school gets as well, by the way. All right? Believe it or not, some of the school teachers that we used to get on with is steering away from us. When they see our kids in town, for an example, they don't want to talk to them. Because to me, that is shame. If you want me, that is what it is, because it's shame. Because they are making money on children, but they are not really educating these children. Yeah?
Yeah.
So then you have to ask yourself questions. What have they got to be afraid of? Are they being threatened about their jobs? Because you see, like I said, I've got so far 3 of my children itself left school. The school didn't do them no favours. Okay, they still struggle for the last, the 3 years they've had to do a bit more study. But so I've got one of my daughters who's got a diploma. The school didn't help her. You see, it was the encouragement between myself, my wife, and obviously her siblings. You see what I'm saying to you? It's the same for the rest. As young as they were, they've always supported their older siblings. You see what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
And social services, schools and that will not do this. All they're interested in is just the funding they're getting out of it. I've discussed with you, when go back to 2007, when I found out if your first language isn't English, right, the school gets £3,000 per head. Yeah, school dinners. The minute you're on that, you're marked for the rest. The kids are marked for the rest of their life. They don't tell you these things. They say to you, "Oh, yeah, it's helping you." Yeah, sometimes I've said to people, "Yes, you might not care about taxpayers, but I do." So I've even said to them, "Can you tell me how much it's going to cost? Whatever you are trying to do with my family, how much would that set out?" But you see, if I was to give you a figure, I'll say that £50,000 a year. Right? But you see, they will make so much more above that, but that is what they want. See, they don't want to give the 50,000 because they can claim 5 times that amount. You see what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
It's not what is right. It's not what is right for the child. It's what they can make out of it. There are many agencies involved in all this. And like I said to you, I'm quite annoyed for the fact. I've contacted the police, professional standard. I've contacted the OPC. Even last week I contacted them. I said, I'm not hearing nothing. But how much more chasing do we have to do? And people say to you, you're not working with them. So if I wasn't working with them, why have I got a log of how many phone calls I've made to the police? And then when you complain it's not complaint. When you mention anything to the police, they see it as if you're complaining. That is why I was arrested on the 30th of June. Right? And it's because I had questioned the inspector. I wanted to know the name of the police officer that had shared information about me.
And they wouldn't tell you?
They wouldn't. Yeah.
You see, that is just, it's so blatantly wrong. I know we said we were going to do half an hour. So how can we leave this? The police are not handling this correctly, but the trouble is the police is such a corrupt organisation. It's a corporation, isn't it? And when we talk about this money that's been given, divvied out to all these organisations, this is to do with the birth certificate. And for somebody who's watching today might not have come across about the birth certificate and the implications of registering your child within the 28 days of their birth. So this is where the money comes from. Goodness knows where all the money is going, because all the councils are saying that they are bankrupt because, they've been selling land off left, right and centre. So, Mike, how can we finish this off? Can we come back to you when you've had your next meeting?
Well, I'm hoping I'll go there on Tuesday. Now, they're very smart. They say to me, I said to them, I want it properly recorded. Whether it's a paper form or recorded. They're quite smart where they don't give consent to record it, all right? It's like I even said to her, I said, as you're fully aware, my daughter is quite willing to come to these meetings to take notes. You see what I'm saying to you? Now, last time they were here, which was on a Friday, my daughter made 27 pages all in all.
27? Wow.
Right? But the thing is, if we can do this, we're not being paid for, right? Why can't they do it? What makes it even worse, there was 2 of them. Not 1, 2 of them. One of them did the talking, the other one did the listening. So why are they not recording nothing on paper? Okay? And then they have the cheek to say they want our children to tell them how they want to be brought up in care. You see what I'm saying to you? And, me, what I see from that is that what they're trying, is this their phase? So in other words, if a child tells them how they want to be brought up, is that a new law they're going to bring on parents now? You need to bring your children up this way, otherwise they're going to be taken off you. You know,
Well,
so
I think it is getting that way, actually, isn't it? Right, Mike. Let's sign off then. So keep in touch. Let me know after this meeting what happens and whether you get anywhere with the police about the fact that they're sharing information and you haven't given them any authority to do so. They're not filling you in.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, Mike. Thank you, Mike. And it's Caroline Stevens seeking the truth. I'm signing off for the evening because it's summertime. Mike, thank you. You take care, all of you, and my blessings to your whole family, because it is a total travesty of justice. What justice do we get in the childcare system, in the secret courts? Because everything is weighted against the families. They hold, it feels like they hold all the cards, and they know all the procedures, and then they just produce the cards, and they've got the corrupt courts. So thank you, Mike. You take care, and I'll see you again soon. Bye. And it's Caroline Stevens seeking the truth.